Welcome to the third episode of Community Watch with Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell. This is Mike Fuhrman. Sheriff, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having us. Thanks for doing it.
This is our third episode. The first few have been very popular, so thanks for taking the time every month to do the show.
It's been very successful for us, and I appreciate it.
Busy month so far, but before we get into everything you've been involved with this month, let's talk about the Most Wanted.
The Most Wanted. This has been a great program for us. Y'all airing it because we've had several captures from this program, so it's great. The first two we have is sort of like a duo, I used to say. Floyd Darnell Vasquez and Bailey Frances Vasquez. Both of them is from 9th Avenue Southeast in Hickory. They're wanted from numerous different crimes, but counts of misdemeanor resisting public officer, secondary trespassing, felony possession with intent to sell and deliver cocaine, misdemeanor failure to appear, DWI, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And Miss Vasquez is one for felony safecracking and felony larceny. So if anybody can help us locate them, that would be an extremely helpful thing. Our third person is Nicole Helen Jackson. She's 32 years old, from General Delivery. Last information we got, she's at the Quality Inn in Statesville. She is wanted for felony breaking and entering, felony larceny after breaking and entering, and felony conspiracy to commit breaking and entering. She has a long criminal history including DWI, misdemeanor assaults on government officials, shoplifting, things of that nature. Our fourth person is Jessica Ruth Whitman. She's 21 years old. Last known was 105 Moser Lane in Statesville. In Mooresville. Felony breaking and entering and felony larceny after breaking and entering. And our fifth on our list this week is Kimberly Michelle London. She's 28 years old, from 150 Kerr Street, and that's also in Mooresville. And she's one for felony breaking and entering, felony larceny after breaking and entering, and conspiracy to commit breaking and entering. So anybody that has information, please email us. You can go through our Facebook at Iredell County Sheriff. You can email us, and also our number is 704-878-3180. We'd love any information we can to bring these people to justice.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Absolutely.
Now, busy month started off with, I think, a really special day for you and your deputies with your swearing-in ceremony. Tell us a little bit about, I know you made a decision to be sworn in at the same time as your deputies, and that's not something that's done everywhere. It
was cool. We made the decision. That's something even through my career. It's always been just done a little different. Usually the sheriff would be sworn in somewhere and then the deputies. So I thought it was cool this time to bring us all together in God's house. We did it inside of a church. But this way my family could participate in my swearing in. Actually, we had the children administer the oath to me. Then after that, I had a few words and then was able to turn right around and swear in all of our personnel that was able to be there today. There still had 40 to 50 that had to be on the street and working in the jail. But it's a very humbling experience, especially for me, and one that I could share with my men and women.
Yeah, the photos were great, and we'll put some photos up so people who haven't seen them have an opportunity to do so. Now, right after the ceremony, right back to work. And
absolutely.
I know you had last week. You had some cyber training for your special victims unit investigators, and you had some folks in from other states. Tell us a little bit about the new software program and what that's going to help your investigators accomplish.
Well, obviously technology is involved in most of our crimes we deal with now, especially when it comes to computer crimes, sexual, as far as the children's crime and special victims unit they investigate. But what this will do, it's a specialized software that some of the state agencies are using. But basically it comes down to the fact that we'll be able to go straight out if we've received information on child porn or even threats against school and plug into that computer there on the scene and be able to get the information that we need instead of versus having to send it to the state lab where it may take 4, 5, 6, 7 months. So it's huge benefit in time. Time is of the essence in most of these cases, especially if you get a lot of threats of violence, because most stuff comes through social media or comes through the computers in email form. And this, if we were able to isolate it, the computer, we can get that information real time. So your investigators, assuming that they have a warrant or probable cause, can get into a computer without having the passwords or login information. They can access any videos, any pictures, social media history, all those things. Yes, and we're working on other things. That's a lot of the information comes through, especially child porn. A lot of those cases are generated on a state level through some of the systems, and we participate in those investigations. But this software, with proper paperwork, search warrants, and things of that prior to, will be able to retrieve the evidence. You know, you may know there's a lot of different things that goes on to set up the probable cause to get the warrants. But then we have to retrieve the evidence. So the investigation is never just as soon as the arrest is done. A lot of it continues on. So this will just aid us in being efficient and being able to get real-time information. And you'll likely get the suspects to trial faster. Oh, absolutely. That we'll at least be able to make the arrest faster.
Right, right. And you had, I think, 4 of your investigators participate, and you also had some investigators from other states in also.
Yeah, we had 4, and part of hosting the class we was asked, and we're obviously glad we were asked to host this class, and was able to get 4 positions or 4 seats in that class at no cost to us, just from merely hosting in our training room. But we had investigators with Homeland Security investigations. We had, I won't say Mississippi and South Carolina, and a couple other states. But they was come here to train, and that's been that's a great feeling knowing that they'll come here to do their training.
Okay, and we'll have an article about that up on Statesville Free News. So if you want to learn more about that, go to the news page on our website, and story should be right near the top. Now, had a little excitement at the jail earlier this month as well. I think a few of your deputies were injured, and 3 inmates faced charges of assaulting law enforcement officers. Let's talk a little bit about specialized training that your detention officers have, so they're ready when something like that happens.
Well, there's a lot of specialized training. The example with this is there was an officer that was simply bringing an inmate back from visitation, ended up being assaulted, and the officer being assaulted was visible from another pod. Which, when we talk about pods here, we have our inmates. We have beds around it. It's an open area in part of our jail, and this is a part. Some of us still got the bars, but we have the beds around the pod. So you may have 25 to 30 inmates that's in an open area. Well, once they seen that assault of that officer occur or happen, they begin to take a defensive position, like they wanted to start causing problems in the jail and coming up against the door. So at that point, obviously the jail going to a lockdown procedure immediately. The officers are specially trained, and they understand, don't breach the door, don't go into the door until we get help. So it's not that the officers in there are more than trained, and they did a fabulous job. But anytime you get in a situation like that, when you have we've got housing approximately 250 here, you always want to send out a call for backup unit support for other law enforcement agencies. That's exactly what they did. Within approximately 10 to 15 minutes, they were able to restore into that cell or into that pod. And you have to understand, it's not only for the safety of the overall jail, but also the safety of those inmates in there that's not causing the problem. So obviously, officers did make an entry, and that's where some of our injuries occurred when they was making the entry into that pod to get rule back in place there. Now,
the inmates who they face felony charges, right?
Yes, they face felony charges, and they're still reviewing a lot of the video. There's an unbelievable amount of hours when you take all the cameras in the jail to look. But yeah, those 3 was the first initial suspects that we charged.
Now, when we look forward to you being in the new jail, do you anticipate that being a safer environment for the detention officers?
Absolutely. It is totally around officer safety. The commissioners, we presented that, and that's one of the things they give us the funding. But in the example, you would have 2-man cells, sort of where they're locked up in 2-man cells, versus an open pod area, and they only come out at certain times. So it don't matter if I have 4 detention officers or 20 detention officers, you're still facing those 25 to 30 inmates in an open pod. In the new expansion, that will not be like that. They'll be locked in 2-man cells, as jail should be.
Okay. Well, glad the injuries weren't more severe, and I think when most people think about sheriff's deputies, we're thinking about the patrol deputies, the people on the road, maybe the investigators. It'd be hard to argue that the men and women who work in the jail don't have some of the most dangerous jobs in the county.
And some of the worker comp cases, and I get it, some of the assault and injuries occur in the detention facility. I'm an example. I had my hand broken in the jail back years ago, and it's a dangerous job, but they take it seriously. They train, they prepared, and they was able to keep this. Call this, I guess you don't call it uprising, but this pod going out of control. They was able, within 10 minutes, handle the problem.
Right. Well, you hear a lot about things happening in other jails and prisons in other states where the inmates, within an hour, have control of the total jail. They're burning things, injuring other inmates, detention officers, and whatnot. So, we applaud the work of your men and women there.
Thank you.
Moving forward, let's talk a little bit. We've got a few weeks left till Christmas and New Year's. Let's talk about some things that our viewers might need to be reminded about in order to stay safe and protect their property during the holidays.
Well, sort of like we was talking about earlier, technology and social media and things like that. One of the biggest things is keep your holiday travel plans to yourself as much as you can, at least till you get back. I know it's great to post those pictures when you're out of town at the beach at Christmas or at Disney World, but believe me, other people are seeing those too. So if you're there, that means nobody's at your home. So we got to be careful with that. Notify a neighbor of your plans if you're going to be away from your home. Have somebody check. Have somebody check your mail. If you do have a paper delivery, check that. And just overall check around your house. one of the big things now, Alexa, for example, with Google, you can turn your lights on and off and different power outlets. You always want to give the appearance that you're at home or somebody's at least checking on your home. Another thing, when you're outside, walk in groups, especially in more inside the city and places like that where you've got sidewalks and you're able to walk. Another big thing we have seen is keep your packages out of sight, especially as far as delivery. Even inside your home, try to keep them out of sight as much as you can. But also when you have delivery, we've spoke about this and you see it numerous times on news every evening. Somebody's stealing packages. Try to get them delivered or try to talk to your man to put them somewhere, maybe out of sight a little bit. And if possible, same old thing, never carry a purse or cash up front where somebody can see it and easily get to it, even when you're in a store. And try not to use your PIN number as much as you can. I know we use a lot of debit cards, but if you can, possibly use a credit on your debit card instead of entering your PIN, because there's somebody always watching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you're at a mall, you know, in Charlotte or someplace, you want to keep your packages out of sight, put them in the trunk of your car if you're going back into the mall.
Yes, and if you can, like I say, you're talking about the purse and things like that, don't carry a lot of bulky items that keeps you you know, and if you are walking out, we've heard a thing, don't put the strap of a purse over your neck. We've heard that for years. Put it on your shoulder. If somebody's going to get it, let them have it. There's nothing that you can fight and risk your safety for that.
Okay. Well, Sheriff, thanks for joining us again this month. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and your family, and we'll see you again in January.
Absolutely.